Hello, Jeanine, and welcome to this Celtic cross reading for you. So, as always, when I tune in with your energy, I pull up a picture of you off from Facebook and I have that up on my screen. And in tuning in, I douse for a particular Sabian symbol that gives us sort of the focus for this reading. Of all the things we could focus on, what is the energy that most wants to come forward? And I can say with all certainty that my readings are really shifting into this place of the Blue Sky Shop, which is about adding more space, more room within all levels of your energy field, but most of all your psyche, most of all that ego consciousness part of us. And I don't at all feel that we have to let go of the ego or that the ego is evil, but I'm wanting to like blow a bunch of bubbles like a little child would into that space in your brain as part of this reading. And that's what I really feel a calling towards now in my work, is this sense of finding an opening for us to think broader, to allow ourselves to invite in that inner child part of us, that part that is drawn to things like wonder and imagination and creative play, and being really curious each morning when you wake up about, I wonder what I'm going to create today. And just having that more lighthearted spirit. And I know that not everybody is built that way. We all have different personalities, of course. However, I just want to encourage that through my readings, that our own sort of blue sky self, that spirited part of who we are, can more easily assist us in our goals and dreams and desires when we offer a little bit more room for that play to enter into it. And that can be very simple things like really mixing up your schedule, or stopping. It's changing momentum in in everything that you the ego loves to have things really well figured out and be very passionate in a direction. And I've been getting lots of messages about being very determined and very dedicated and this tenacity. And I do absolutely feel those are really good components of who we are as humans. They are also very strongly driven from that ego consciousness place, and so much so that it can really take over our way of being in the world. And we lose that sense of wonder and delight and seeing the magic in every day. So my reading for you feels like I needed to explain that right up front, because your Sabian symbol that came forward is Libra 23, which reads as follows: Chanticleer's voice heralds sunrise. And anytime any kind of bird is referenced, that is about spirit. That is about spirit rising within you. That's what your blue sky self, that's how I've been referencing the higher self or God, how you view that. I just see it as the land of all possibilities, where there is no one right way to do something. You don't necessarily learn something and you do it exactly that way. I'm really wanting to invite everyone to find their unique way of going about what they are passionate about, what is a good fit for the aspects of your personality and who you are. Like when you feel your best, what does that look like? And I just feel with this symbol, Libra is an air sign, so it's about, and it's Libra 23, so 2 plus 3 is 5 in numerology. That means freedom-loving adventurer. It is really getting out of the mind in order to find balance, is what I get. And with this Chanticleer symbol, that's the rooster, it is a calling out. That part of you just wants to call out and for a new day to dawn. And I just feel like it wants to ease your brain. It wants to ease that ego piece and to bring you a sense of the Libran energy, which is just more balance in relationships, particularly, but also kind of finding a middle ground and being able to sort of hang out there. And maybe you are in that place, and if so, this is like a you go girl, that's awesome. So I pulled all your cards. The flower therapy deck came forward. So that says to me, I believe that there is an undercurrent here of wanting or encouraging a very, just gentle. Be gentle, like the softness of a flower petal. And yet understand that, of course, in the spiritual world, some of the most powerful epiphanies that I've had and that I've witnessed through others is when we think about the flower, there is that softness and beauty, and when you touch it and when you smell it, it feels so softly feminine. And yet think about what is required for a flower to grow, and particularly flowers like those that first come up in the spring. There is tremendous momentum, strength, and power that is needed to rise up through the soil, and that is true for any plant, any flower at all. They all begin that way, from a seed. And so there is this concept of being soft and gentle, yet powerful, and having momentum. That feels important to me, because I'm getting a lot of imagery for you of flowers growing, and particularly that part when it reaches up out of the soil for the first time. Additionally to that Sabian symbol, I dowsed for both a crystal and a major arcana archetype from the tarot. And the crystal that came forward is my piece of fuchsite, and this is known as the Crystal Cave. And I want to read to you some of the kind of the terminology that goes with this specific piece from my crystal teams. And please know this is also from my air team. And again, Libra is an air sign. And I do feel this sense of like a new wave, a new fresh breeze coming in for the mind and for the ego structure. So the Crystal Cave is about being a cave dweller, going within like the hermit for deep discovery of wisdom. A safe energy for those who want the solace of being alone with their thoughts, like calling into an abalone shell and hearing what comes back. Very dark and mysterious surroundings, lit only by a torch here and there. Provides access to the inner sanctuary, knowing that the crystal cave the hermit lives in contains many gems. You just need to be selective on which ones you want to bring out. So there's that kind of exploratory. This is very much like the energy of that 5 that you have with your symbol about the freedom-loving adventurer. But it is an adventure within, and it is this dawning of a new day. You know, the Chanticleer heralds the sunrise. It announces a new day is forming. And the Tarot archetype is the Chariot that came up for you. So this speaks to the momentum that I'm seeing with the flower imagery growing up out of the soil. I mean, really, it can be incredibly powerful as a meditation of sorts to watch some videos on YouTube of actual flowers growing, like their process of growing. That could be really a powerful incentive to like make whatever shift is coming forward in this reading. So the Chariot is very much about this balance. Again, think Libra. The balance between these masculine and feminine energies, and you are the one in the chariot there, and you've got the reins on these two, in this deck they are depicted as sphinxes, which is traditional. And they do represent those masculine and feminine energies, what I just said about flowers, with there being the softness and gentleness, and yet the power and the strength to move forward. It's a fine balance there, and these are concepts that we're not really used to putting together, but more and more I'm seeing it come through in my readings. And so the Chariot does speak to, again, it's an overall message of a new day is dawning and things are beginning to move forward in a way that feels pleasing to you, but you have to be the one that picks up the reins and decide how you want to move forward. And I feel like that's what this reading, sort of that blue sky self of you, part of you, is wanting to give some little breadcrumbs about what you could think about. Because of course, in my readings, I never want to give you the answer. This is just revealing like some options for you to think about as we go through them. But it does feel like forward momentum and this dawning of a new day, but doing a fair amount of inner contemplative work. This is really like the Hermit in the Tarot. It's very well connected with that. And this inner wisdom and really trusting your inner wisdom, but being able to look for some new gems that you haven't seen in that inner cave for a while or maybe ever. There's something there that I think wants to come up as well. So I have all of your cards picked, and I dowsed to make sure I have the right one. So we'll move through. There's 10 cards in all. And so, and by the way, you will have photos of these in the email that I send you with this link to this video. So the first card is you at the center of the reading. This is what your energy really wants to focus on for the reading, given the context that I've just given. All right. And this is family harmony. This is Libra. This is that energy of Libra. And this is the chrysanthemum. And it says, your loved ones form a strong pillar of support. Embrace their love and put past issues behind you. And there's something here, like I keep getting this sense of a fight, of sort of a fight within you, of wanting to battle it out, and perhaps not against another, but I just get a sense of that it's like your higher self energy, it just keeps wanting to but no. There, you got all this support over here, and you can trust in that. You can believe in that. Because I think it wants to say that the new day dawning, that freedom-loving adventurer, is within the essence of what Libra is about harmony. There is no better word for Libran energy than harmony. That is what Libra is the most interested in. And the thing of this is that to embody Libra energy, and we go through phases where we want to do this, or sometimes we're forced to do it because of circumstances. But the thing of it is, sometimes if you consider a bridge, and there is one side of something, whatever it is, whether it's a family matter or something that you either there's a viewpoint, or we can think about it as a political party or whatever you want to view it as. And then on the other side of the bridge is the other person, viewpoint, whatever. And Libra loves hanging out on the bridge that connects the two. And that's what I feel the encouragement is. It wants to, your big you wants to really focus on this. What does the middle look like? Because maybe it's not working to push in a very masculine-based way. Because remember, the new day dawning, the Chanticleer heralding the sunrise is about this sense of being able to move forward and to use the best of masculine and feminine energies. And so to not be stepped all over, but to be soft enough to listen and to take in and to receive support when you need it. And that's another piece of this card at the center of it that I feel like wants to come forward more for you, is that you can ask for support. There are people in your life who want to support you, and absolutely your spiritual side, that blue sky self part of you, really wants to support you and help to envision, help you to support any vision that you have towards dreams and goals that you've got. But I feel like there's just, there can be such benefit to kind of hanging out on the bridge for a while and not firmly, and again, think masculine energy here, not firmly standing staunchly on one side of the bridge or the other. And this, again, I purposely don't get into like a specific, is this about, a relationship, or is this about, something with work, or this is more about energy that runs under the surface that wants to affect everything in your life. It's like it's not even just one part of life. These readings have to do with seed energy within you. And that is the next card. Is we had this family harmony as kind of the core topic of the reading. But then what is the seed underneath that they're wanting you, that blue sky self part of you wants you to notice? Like, what is like being uncovered? Because again, that crystal cave energy of the crystal, something is being revealed here that is deeper wisdom that wants to come out. And we have Smile, the sunflower. It wants you to lighten up in terms of the force and in terms of the serious nature of who you are. And I'm not asking you to change your personality at all, but that's why this inner child sort of prelude that I did for the reading felt important to say, because that's why people come to me for readings, is because the inner child cues up and it's like, I want to have a say. And that is my specialty area, is with the inner child. So this card of anything in the deck, this is the inner child card of this deck. It says, for the sunflower, it says, simply smile and notice the profound and healing difference it makes. And this is it's so common for all of us, that we get focused on what isn't right in our lives, and we get focused on the things that maybe we aren't doing well, or we wish that things were better in certain parts of our lives, and maybe that others are not listening. My throat is choking up here. Or that we feel like we can't bring forward our creativity in the way that we'd like to, or that we don't feel heard. There can just be a lot of this kind of self-inflicted suffering that happens. And I just have to point out here, like Chiron, I think we're right in it right now. Chiron is now moving direct again. And then we'll be moving into the sign of Aries again. It was there earlier in the year. And this is a whole new day for Chiron in astrology, because Chiron has been known as the wounded healer. And I feel this with your reading. Chiron wants to be done with that. It's the sense of, yes, there is woundedness. Yes, there are things that haven't worked right, or that we currently are experiencing that maybe are truly sucky in our lives. But there are two ways, well, there's many ways, but two core ways to look at it, is either through the lens of suffering and woundedness, or through that strength, like the flower that comes up through that spring soil. That there is a a set determination on I will rise again. And this is the Chanticleer's voice, Herald Sunrise. It is that exact message. That's what I feel like Chiron is moved to. And this is really great timing for your reading, with Chiron now moving from retrograde motion, which is, we're like revisiting our wounds again. If you've been noticing that, Chiron, I think, started going retrograde around July 4th of this year, and now is moving this direct motion, and it's so refreshing to me, because retrogrades are nothing that I don't view them as negative in astrology at all, but they are a much needed, like, okay, I'm going to take some time to reflect and review, and then now we can really firmly step forward, and especially by the time Chiron starts moving into Aries coming up. So that's what I feel. It's this dropping of the woundedness. It's letting go of like all of the pain and the things that are not right, and the focus on really thinking about that 3, 4, 5-year-old version of who you were, and how you would go about your days. Even if you were a really serious child, we still gave ourselves more room to create at any moment. Okay, and that's what I feel the energy wants to say to you, during this reading. So that's the seed that we're getting to, is that smile energy. And again, I'm being drawn back to the Chariot. This is very much in alignment with the smile card, because it's forward movement now. We're moving forward. We're not like holding back. We're not like in a stall pattern. It's the dawn of a new day. This is time for you to begin to see that cup as half full more consistently over time. All right. So then we go to the basis of the reading. Okay, so this is what energy that's under the surface, and this is your wishes are coming true. And interesting here, you get what you think about, you get what you ask about. So this is the sweet pea. What your heart has been longing for is getting closer each day. And honestly, Jeanine, I'm feeling like, be careful what you wish for. That's really interesting. I'm seeing it more like a warning signal, because I keep hearing like rah, 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 and feeling like you need to understand that your wishes are coming true if there is a sense of lack of harmony and lack of smile energy in your life, because the whole reading feels like it wants to spur you to something more exciting and more possible for yourself than maybe this stalemate place that you've been in. The energy is ready to move you forward, to get some momentum moving. And I just keep getting the sense that this card is indicating that, yes, if you've been in a stalled position, or you feel like there's nothing but friction around you, you have to take a look at, but what have I been focusing on? Because it is that great law of attraction. What we focus on then is what our lives become. That is what we invite in. Because that's the room, again, what I was speaking of before, as if I'm blowing bubbles into that ego space and into particularly that mental construct. Because again, you have heavy air energy as the context for the reading. And I just, when we put that air, when we put the bubbles into that space, that is when, we can see that there is more room for spirit to work with you. And when there's heavy push and heavy, if there's negativity or just a feeling of really being at odds with others, and never feeling any consistent, easy flow of things, then you have to take a look at, okay, so how am I not allowing that space? Because it becomes very programmed when we really take that masculine energy of push and making things happen. And it feels like a total shift away from that is being indicated through this reading. And just be careful what you wish for. That's what I get as the basis of the reading. So the recent past, okay, that wants to be reflected on is patience, the begonia. And these are extremely, I know them to be pretty hardy flowers. I don't know a lot about flowers, but I had a friend who always used to get begonias, and they were always bright red. And that is coming up for me here on purpose, because I feel with patience, I feel anger. That you have maybe had a time of anger that fuels this sort of lack of patience. This says your prayers have been heard and they are being answered. So again, we're getting this, what you're wishing for, what you're focusing on. And I get the red, this sort of anger and a kind of that's a survival color too. It's the warrior. It is, I am going to do this, damn it. And we all, that's not judgment in any way. We all need and are benefited from that energy, that part of us. But I feel like it's saying patience has been tested. And then it can make you fiery within even. And it wants to kind of come in with a big hose and kind of hose all that down and just let everything kind of settle a little bit. And to know that whatever it is you're wanting is coming. But again, but be careful what you're wanting. Like, is it truly what you're wanting? Like, to really be clear on this dawn of a new day that you're looking towards. Maybe that is the very thing that you're wanting. And to be sure that you're not affixed to some old habits, ways of being, kind of old dreams or goals that you had, because this feels completely different. And I'm really sensing that you've been affected by, this year has had just really tumultuous energy patterns happening. And why we see the world stage playing out like it is, and even within our youth, all of this around gun violence and everything within school settings, it's getting into that inner child place, and where even that doesn't feel safe anymore, and it just feels like we have to be on a defensive. That energy is all over the planet at the moment. So I'm not like pinpointing you out. This is something we're all dealing with. And people have been through big ups and downs in this 11 year of 2018. So I just get a sense of, at the time of this reading, of course, we're still under the influence of the new moon in Sagittarius. That was yesterday. Yes, yesterday. So, no. I've got that. Yeah, yesterday. Sorry. Get my days screwed up. Which is this energy for you of the freedom-loving adventurer. That is Sagittarius. It is getting out of your comfort zone. It is breaking through the boundaries and really not having boundaries. Really allowing yourself to be led by spirit and going into new lands. And everything that I've talked about is new lands for you. So this feels like it's breaking down some of those old patterns and maybe the ultra frustration or lack of patience that you may have felt, and I do feel some anger there. That those are important indicators of, okay, it's time to let that go, because I'm trying to push the energy and the energy's not having it. So again, Libra being your key here, it's time to move further on in the opposite direction on the bridge and to find support maybe in a different area or changing of the focus a little bit, because there's just too much tension and then nothing moves and everything gets in a stalemate. That's what I so wish that everybody, and I know you get about energy, and I wish that so many others did see that when we get in these stalemate situations, it's very difficult for something really progressive to come out of that, because people are on the defensive and offensive. That's the way the energy works, and therefore everything gets stalled, because it's about being right, not about coming to perhaps a blended solution. So then the next card is the present. This is kind of the present energy that wants to be reflected. So this is where Blue Sky Self inviting you, offering this on a platter right now for you. Let your inner beauty shine. And notice here, Jeanine, what I'm really drawn to is this very soft pink rose. And I want you to think about the softness of a rose petal, and maybe even go out and buy yourself a single rose and really pay attention to purchasing the color that you want. There are so many colors available. And take take just one petal off, and really, I want you to sensually feel it. It just feels like I'm wanting to get you out of your mind. I mean that in the best way. That didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. I want to get you tactile. I want to get you sensing and get you in that place of just seeing these magic of these flowers that keeps coming up. And to think about the rose. It's one of the most beautiful flowers that we have in all of creation, and it's got these spines, these prickers on it, because it protects itself. And that's what I feel is this. There's a shifting in terms of the protection that you feel you need to keep around yourself. And this card is indicating wanting to invite you to spread open more. I feel this opening, not only of mind, but like your body, and not feeling you need to be like in crunch down position. The card says you are a brilliant example of God's love. Everything about you is perfect. So let your light shine and inspire others. And it feels like this is the change of direction that is being indicated with the energy of the reading. It wants to open you up instead of making you shut down and get into a brutal, brittle position because you feel you have to, out of a sense of protection. I'm hoping this is resonating, because I do feel it, and yet I feel so strongly, and I always do with you. You just have such a beautiful, this is you. This is you. That's what I feel there. You have such a beautiful softness there. But I'm not sure because again, we go back to the family harmony, and that's not only with your family, but anybody who encounters you, and even your own spirit. Just this allowing to let them help you, to be open to that support, and to let them see your softness and see that sometimes you just don't know. It's a real vulnerability there. And I feel it with this card very intensely. Okay, the next card we've got up. Oh, sorry about that. My phone just went off. Clearly this must be a really important card. That stuff like that I always pay attention to. The next piece of this is around the near future energy. I'm always really careful with this card because I do not want it to be predictive. I do not do that. I honor your free will far too much to say this is what's going to happen. What I want to say is, in the context of this reading, that bigger part of you, that inner child, fun-loving, wonder, smile, sunflower part of you is kind of saying, well, come on over here and play with me a little. You know, it's just something to contemplate how you potentially could take that first step forward in hearing the Chanticleer's call, the herald of the sunrise, in being ready to take your seat on the chariot and to have those reins in your hand and to move forward, but with the wisdom of the crystal cave crystal, that this wisdom that you have gained through time spent within, through time contemplating and everything, okay? And this is, take time for yourself and look at, it's the tulip. This is what I was talking about in the beginning. This is one of those flowers in the early spring. I'm telling you, Jeanine, try to look up on YouTube if there are some videos of watching what tulips go through, or daffodils, either one, what they go through to pop up through that beginning spring energy. This is clearly important. I will turn my phone off so it doesn't interrupt us. I just really feel called to say that. And this card says, enjoy relaxation activities that nurture your soul. And this is a piece of the crystal cave as well. It feels really good to us to find our space. Like, I love it here in my office, this sacred space. And it's for you, I feel it's a sacred space in your mind. It has to do with the ego structure and the whole mental contraption is how they're giving it to me. And allowing that mind to loosen and to allow this is inner child energy. It is, what is enjoyable to me today? And I'm going to make an effort to work that in. It simply must be. Because this is where you're being invited to go in order to bring greater harmony, in order for the sunrise, the dawning of a new day to come forward, in order to move forward productively and to add, I'm feeling more momentum is needed to move you forward. It feels a little bit like stalemate energy. So this is about giving to yourself. This is about this enjoyment and things like having a bath, little silly things, getting a book that you want to read. And I know I say this, I've said this to friends of mine. I haven't said it in a card reading before, interestingly, but I said to some friends, my husband and I chose a number of months ago now. We literally stayed in bed for an entire weekend. We carved out the weekend and we said, this is what we're doing. And we didn't worry about the laundry. We didn't worry about, we had enough food, so we were prepared in that way. We didn't worry about our son because he was old enough. And we just stayed in our bedroom. And we would bring meals up and coffee or tea or whatever. And we read. We just read. That's what we did. And I can't even tell you how empowering and resetting that was. It literally just, I felt like a new person after I did that. And not to say that I'm saying for you to do that. How, Jeanine, can you mix up your schedule enough that you offer more relaxation, more whatever it is for you that feels like that weekend in bed felt to me, just reading. Like I just loved it. We both loved it. So that's what I feel the call is towards for you. And the modus operandi is what I said about mixing up your energy. It is about kind of like when people do, oh gosh, the word's not coming to me. It's where you screw up your pace, like you might walk for 5 telephone pole lengths on a road, and then you might run for 2, and then you might skip for a couple, and then you would walk again, and you purposely, I think they call it circuit, where you're just doing different things. You're not doing the same. It's inner child does not do well with this very strict schedule that never changes. It's just we just can't operate that way as from the inner child perspective. So it's wanting to kind of just add that skip in your day, something that is it sets you off balance on purpose in order to bring you into more balance. Okay. All right, so the next card is your power. Like in the context of the reading, what is your power in this that they're wanting to tell you is your power, by the way, because oftentimes we won't give ourselves that. Magnify your intentions. Okay, this is again getting to be careful what you're focused on. It's baby's breath, and it says, choose a specific goal to work toward. Your energy is spread out among too many ideas. Please bring your focus back to the key intention and let your angels help. Now, this is your power. You are very powerful in magnifying your intentions, is what the meaning is. The thing is, what are you focusing your intentions on? Because they're saying better results or more satisfying results in terms of inviting in more harmony in your life comes when you magnify your intentions on baby's breath, inner child. This is about that easy in and out of a child. It is just the wonder and the creation that happens on a daily basis. And again, I want you to think back to when you were 3, 4, 5 years old, if you have any memory of that time, and what you loved to play, and what you couldn't wait to get up and get going on your day. It's before you got into the school setting or really headlong into homeschooling if you did that. It's before there was structure that was added, was like plunked on top of your amazing creative self as a child. I see the purpose of school, of course, but then there is such a huge amount of our imaginatory system that gets repressed in the meantime. While you gotta quiet, and you gotta sit in your seat till at least 10 o'clock, and then we get a break, but you can't run around. You're gonna get your snack, and you're gonna come over here on the carpet, and you're gonna sit crisscross legs, crisscross applesauce, and we're gonna go around one at a time and say what we're most grateful for, or say what we did during the weekend. Or do you feel the structure in that? And that's how so many of us, myself included, then govern our lives by that kind of structure in our personal life, which is our business to run. That is nobody else's business. So I'm feeling your power is in taking note of where your intentions are set, and is it serving you? Is it where you want to be? And if not, your power is in where you do put that energy. And I am feeling a big pull towards this lighter, brighter. Again, think the sunflower. and it's big. That's big energy. It feels very Leo-like to me, the sunflower, which I love. It's not this sort of clamped down energy like I talked about before with the rose card, but instead it's very open, and there's no, it's just all out, beautiful. The next card is the environment, whatever wants to come up for the environment. And we have another rose, and this is the yellow rose. Balance, work, rest, and play. And whatever you're experiencing currently in the various environments of your life, at work, at home, with family, with friends, this says it's important for you to have fun along with fulfilling your responsibilities. Here's another thing towards fun and kind of being joking and being light and kind of just putting some air. I keep getting this, putting air into your routine. Like carve out blocks when maybe you don't have a plan. Maybe you decide in that moment, I'm going to just decide what I feel like doing at this particular time of the day. Gosh, that's awesome. I should do that myself. And this is what I love about card readings, is your energy is what teaches me. So I get as much out of the reading as I hope that you do. So this speaks to your environments are important teachers for you because they show you where there is lack of balance and the importance of work, rest, and play. And that their needs and all of those should be enveloped in any given day. They just simply should be. That should always be zinging through. And the more you can mix up the cadence of that, where maybe you work really hard for an hour at something, and then you stop and you just sit in meditation for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or you stop, like let's say you're cleaning your house and you're go for even like a few hours or something, and then you stop and you get your phone and you just put it on shuffle, and whatever song comes up, understand it is like an oracle. It has a message for you, and just dance according to whatever you feel, how you feel the music moving you. I feel like you need to bring more sensuality into your life. You need to bring more like movement and opening of the body, and an invitation for the senses, an invitation to enjoy a different kind of a food or a drink, or just experiences, and like purposely putting yourself in situations that you have never been in before. Because again, the 5 energy, freedom, loving adventurer, it is Sagittarian kind of energy. And it puts you by design out of the comfort zone. You literally don't have any boundaries. You don't understand what you're in for, on purpose. And it's how you literally hone in on more of what you're wanting, which we don't even know what we want. That's what's magical about the inner child energy, is that part of you didn't have a preconceived notion of it. This is exactly how it's going to go. It went day by day by day. And there was just creation and imaginative play that happened in those days, in those times of our life. Okay, so another balance card here. The next card has to do with what it is that your blue sky self would whisper in your ear. That is kind of the core message from spirit, like if they were right there with you, and of course they are, but they whisper this to you, and it is time to decide. And this is the wisteria, which is just, I love this card because if you look at wisteria, pictures online, it is the crystal cave energy. It comes down and it's just like going into this beautiful mystical land. Very Neptunian energy I feel here. It wants to draw you into the mystical, into a lighter frame of mind. This says, make a decision now so you can move forward. So you can move forward. And you're moving forward to do something that creates more harmony, not less. That creates more balance in your own life. That creates this balance of the work and rest and play. Where there isn't, it isn't energy that is so loaded in one area and then all other areas suffer because of it. So I feel, and you know, again, I had told you, your reading has a heavy air element to it. And the air is just wanting to come into a more balanced place. It wants to be in that bridge area, not on one side or the other. And not, therefore, spurring offensive and or defensive energies. Because by virtue of the fact that those stand, those points of view, whatever it is, are not on the bridge that crosses over the water, which is just flowing. It is on the ground, and it is solid and stayed energy. It's very rooted, and therefore it can't experience the other side because it just refuses to go there. And just because of that, they are always opposing each other. There's no way of like reaching up and over. That can only be done on the bridge when you decide that I don't want to be on the shore anymore. I want to see what's down in the water. I want to see the magical koi fish that I know swim there. But I can't when I'm over here and I'm so deeply rooted in whatever it is. And again, it feels like whatever it is that you're rooted in has to do with a very strict frame of mind that you operate from, and a sense of needing to protect. I do really feel that, but it's from such a good place, and I know that. I feel that deeply. That was that pink rose energy. I feel that with you, Jeanine. It's from a very good place that you do this. So I'm not, and your big self energy is not giving, like wagging the finger. It is just saying, but what if you tried a different viewpoint? What if you went onto the bridge for a little while? So clearly there's something here that wants to be decided in order to propel you further. And then the last card is the culmination message. Really kind of, this is the bow that ties up the package of the reading. Is you are lovable. And I just want you to take in, when you look at the photo of this card that I send, just look at the pure vulnerability of these petals. They're absolutely gorgeous. And this is the camellia is the name of the flower. It reminds me very much of peony, my very favorite flower, because there's such an abundance to you, Jeanine. It's an abundance of all of these beautiful petals, but I feel like they've been scrunched up and they are ready to open and to just say, this is who I am. This is what I believe, at least for right now. But I'm willing to be open enough to allow some imagination and to stand on the bridge and look into the mystical water and see what I see. Because there might be something that is new there. And even in that, there is deep vulnerability. Because you have to uproot. You can't be on the shore anymore if you do that. there is vulnerability in pulling up your roots and to saying, okay, I'm going to go onto the bridge. And there is nothing to root to because you have water running underneath. But you have the beauty of the vision to see both sides and to be this point in the middle that is the very thing, the very energy that joins the two. And that's where the magic really is. Okay, and this says, love who you are as you're created perfectly. Everything about your true self is beautiful. And I do just feel this sense of just, because also these yellow stamen at the middle, it is a real sense of getting strong in that solar plexus, your gut, and saying, yeah, this is just who I am. And I'm willing to be vulnerable in just allowing that to be seen and to live my life the way I want to live it, but to open up a little bit more so that spirit can come and play with me, you know, that we can have more interaction together. And just to honor that with yourself. And I do feel this real sense of this take time for yourself is also tied in with this culmination message, that it's about giving yourself more opportunities for your personal self-enjoyment, whatever that is. Whether that, I mean, for some people, putting their nose to the grindstone and really digging into a project just brings them so much joy. They could do it all day, every day. So whatever it is, whatever that thing is for you, to give yourself more of those opportunities. You know, people who are writing a book and they're very just driven and excited and passionate about the subject, they will carve out time every day, even if they have a full-time job and a demanding family at home and all of these other things pulling at them. They will still carve out the time to make it happen because they are that passionate. And it is allowing, I feel like there is a shift here for you too that's being offered, to think about scheduling your passions before your have-tos. It's where you put in, like the rocks in the bottle idea, you need to put in, the big rocks need to be the things that make you feel full, that make you feel beautiful in all the meanings of that word, and that you're full out. This flower is a very, you know, broad reaching, again, very much like peony to me. Very big and open, and just the petals kind of flutter out and just, and this is who I am. And again, think about it. Look at this image when you get it. It is, look at the opening within it. Look at all of the opening. You know, there's room there. There's air there for you to receive inspired thought that maybe you wake up one day and you just decide, you know what? I'm just going to take a road trip today. I don't even know where I'm going, but I know that my own spirit will lead me right to where I'm meant to go today. And then you find yourself off, you know, in a Quaker community, or on a mountaintop, or by the ocean, or by a little tiny pond, and you see those koi fish, you know. You just never know, but it's allowing yourself the room to have your own your own spiritual psyche be able to have a say in what occurs in your day. And these upsets is what actually creates more clarity, more balance, more harmony in our lives. Okay? So there we go. I really hope that that resonates for you and is helpful in some way. And I do thank you profusely too, because I've learned a lot in the course of this reading for my own self as well, which is why I love doing this work. It's a win-win for everybody is my intention. So thanks again so much for your purchase of this reading, and I always love connecting with you. Bye-bye for now.